Hey guys, welcome to the new moon video. I'm shooting for Taurus. The new moon is in Taurus today, April 22nd. And there's a lot going on in this transition from Aries to Taurus, as well as today's Earth Day, and kind of what a more perfect occasion than the fixed Earth sign, which is almost like the world itself. So yeah, really exciting stuff happening. Notice that there will really be kind of a slowing down from the pent-up, energetic Aries season where it starts things off for us in the astrological new year. And the fire energy, very creative, but can be very loud, can be kind of a lot to handle at some times. And then we're gonna really slow it down into the very sensual, very lavish sign of Taurus. So the second sign of the zodiac is represented by an earth element sign. And when we think of the earth signs, we really are thinking about material possessions, what is physical. You know, your physical form is your actual body. And so Taurus is like really almost like your entire body to some degree, with emphasis on the mouth and the throat. And it's really about kind of finding your inner voice. We might not necessarily have the words to communicate them to the world yet. That comes in Gemini, but Taurus is really about identifying more of what is your own unique self, whether it's the things you own, you know, the things that you've acquired, money, possessions, status, you know, love. It's a Venus-ruled sign, so love is definitely in the air during Taurus season. More of a physical nature, you know, like that body emphasis. So it could be a very heavy season for, you know, bound chicka wow wow, which we all love. But it'll be really interesting to see during this stay home kind of phase that we're in, how that can kind of translate. So it'll look unique, I guess, for everybody. But yeah, some exciting stuff. I went ahead and already pulled the cards for each sign. I find that it's a little, maybe the flow can move a little smoother if I already have it prepared. That earth preparedness is like kind of keeping me on my toes this morning. So yeah, so we'll start with the first sign. This is Aries, your card for the Taurus new moon, and just Taurus season is 10 of Wands in reverse. So if you notice this figure here, he is carrying a lot of stuff. This is a lot of responsibility, a lot of demands that are kind of put on your shoulders this season. So you're really gonna feel like there's a lot of work to do. How fulfilling it is gonna be harder for you to kind of access. So if you're really having a hard time finding the strength to take care of your to-do list, to, you know, get things better structured, better organized, to really get the earnings that you want for yourself right now, it's gonna be a little more challenging. And word of advice, try not to take on more right now, because that can just push you down even farther. So if you guys feel like you're kind of walking through some mud, if you feel like not necessarily lazy, but just worn out, that's a very natural indication with this card. Don't worry, it will pass, but just be a little more wary of how much is on your plate and what is really essential to be on your plate. You know, do you need all of those courses, or do you just need, you know, the main dish? Is it an entree season, or is it like 7 courses for you guys? And so that can also weigh you down too. So just some words of caution. So Aries, for Taurus season, it can feel like you're building, like you've got the Lego set and you're just kind of trying to make things happen. But in this current climate, we have Uranus in Taurus, which has been there for a while, and it will be there for a while because it's a very slow moving planet. And so we can expect we can expect the unexpected, basically, when it comes to money, the body, you know, the earth itself right now. There's a lot just up in the air, and so we can see a lot of erratic changes happening from day to day as we refresh our news feed, and that goes for everybody. But yeah, just kind of take it a little more easy on yourself. Maybe your season really got you revved up and you're just kind of feeling the juices. And so Taurus is kind of our time to usually get outside. So it'll be really interesting to see how we all go about this season. So Taurus, so here's your card. I'm sorry, I'm reading it backwards. 6 of Wands. And it's a very, very nice card to get. This kind of means that the hard work is done. You've passed through the challenges of the 5s in the tarot, which are all about kind of competition. If you felt like there was a lot of like pent-up aggression happening around you, or maybe you had some fights with people, or you wanted to at least, you've kind of come out the other end and better for it, whether you said what you needed to say or you just accomplished what you needed to accomplish. You know, this is kind of a success card. You know, it's still not at the end. It's not a 10. It's a 6 of Wands. You know, wands and swords in tarot are usually, what I say is that the less you have, the better, because there's more freedom. And so with you guys, it may be a little different because you're earth sign, and so it's usually the more you have, the better off you feel. So it's an interesting card to get, but yeah, anything you guys have really worked hard on is coming to a fruition during your season, and now is really your time to set some really good intentions to go out through the next 6 months. So if you guys don't already know how new moons and full moons kind of work, is you get one of each for each sign every year. And it starts out, the new moon starts out in the season of its sign. So right now we just transitioned into Taurus season and we are experiencing the Taurus new moon. Now, if you fast forward 6 months from now, in the signs opposite would be Scorpio season. Scorpio falls opposite Taurus. You will then see in Scorpio season the Taurus full moon. So that's the position where the moon is farthest away from the sun, and you know, so it's fuller while the sun is over here, you know, and that's, the new moon is kind of weird because you physically can't see it in the sky because the sun is brightening it out. And whenever we bring the sun's kind of energy to a sign, we're really kind of putting it in focus. And so that's why you see more energy around whatever sign the season that we're in is. So I've been like scrolling through on Instagram and stuff and just seeing a lot of posts of nature, earth, you know, obviously people wanting to be outside. The pillow challenge seemed very Taurus to me. You know, just things like that. And it's kind of like connecting to what we already have and possess, and maybe trying to find unique ways and exploring it in our stay-home practice. So that's kind of what Uranus can do. It can kind of give us this innovative mindset on how to approach daily life now, which is something that we really need. I think that goes without saying. So, but yeah, that's a really good season for you guys. 6 of Wands. You know, nothing too big, nothing too final. It's not a major arcana sign or not a major arcana card, but that's a good one to get. You know, some little victories, I would say. So now let's go to Gemini. So Gemini, the Empress in reverse. Now this is a pretty Venus energy card. Not surprised to see it during Taurus season. The Empress is really kind of the female embodiment in tarot. She is the mother archetype, so she kind of rules over all of the queens. And so this is really a more natural form than all of the suits. So the Empress is kind of the master of all of those suits incarnate. And so what you guys will really be experiencing is that kind of sense of pleasure and sense of, you're really wanting to access a relaxing, loving, nurturing time, it's just gonna be a little more difficult than you expect, because when we have a reversal, that doesn't necessarily mean that the opposite is happening, that you're gonna have a terrible season. No, the energy is still present. It's just kind of turned on its head. And so what that can mean is sometimes it's not as visible to us when the energy is presenting itself. Oh, is this a moment for me to kind of relax and enjoy and to have like a spa moment? We can't see it as clearly. And so the Empress in reverse is really, you know, trying to tell you guys to slow down a bit. We all kind of have that need in Taurus season, whether you realize it or not, you will. But yeah, so this will be really interesting for you guys to kind of take on a more maternal approach, for you to take care of yourself and your home environment, and to really put the focus back into that. And so if you don't really feel like that's something you want to do, maybe get a little more comfortable with it, because we've got a month of this. But it's a very enjoyable energy, so, you know, it's okay to relax and unwind. You may just feel a little bit antsy, like those fire and air signs just wanting to move around. Busy, busy, busy. So Cancer, you have your cup suit. So that's always nice to see, the suit of your element. That's water in tarot. And the Two of Cups is really about a partnership. So you can see this card a lot with relationships. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be platonic, like a friendship, some kind of agreement or a contract that is drawn. So this is really a time for you guys to invite someone into your life that can really, really boost you. Taurus is, when the moon is in Taurus, it is called in exaltation. And so it's kind of like the prime place for it to be sitting. It's the most comfortable, most positive spot. And so that's kind of where it is right now. And so you guys are loving Taurus season. You're very well suited for this season. It's all about relaxing, indulgence, and just kind of enjoying what already exists. You know, just like Cancer represents the home life, you know, family, and just the comforts of what you've put time and effort into over the years. And so you're really like inviting someone into that kind of sacred space, and that's exciting to see. This person can be very, very different from yourself, but you kind of have this hand outreach to them. You're like, you know what, I kind of am ready to take maybe the next step with you, or to really put that project into motion, to sign the lease, whatever it is. And so kudos to you guys. Leo. All right, Leo, here we go. So the Devil card. So don't get too crazy about this. Yes, this looks very sketch, very like pagan, and yes, the Devil does have some more, not macabre overtones, but tempestuous overtones. So you're really gonna have a trying time in Taurus season to fight the temptation to do something that's going to limit yourself. So whether this is like breaking, you know, good exercise habits, or eating habits, or talking to the person that you shouldn't be talking to, things of that nature. And, you know, with Capricorn, which is significant to this card in tarot, each of the signs has its own specific card in the major arcana. And this is Capricorn's ruling card. So, you know, we have these chains that are around us. Capricorn is a very restricting nature. And so you can kind of feel like you really know and see the rules clearly this season, during Taurus season. You know what your objectives are, and you're pretty suited to go out and accomplish them. Just be careful of exactly how you go about doing that. You know, it's kind of more of a business mindset, and you guys have Taurus in your 10th house of career. So you'll definitely see some kind of job stuff happening and revving up for you guys, whether that's new opportunities or just more of a magnification on the work you've already been doing. So I don't know if I would say exciting stuff, but it can be good stuff. It looks like, you know, it could be setting you guys up for some things that are just necessary. You know, sometimes we have to do some harder things, and that comes with rules, expectations, and so yeah, I think you guys are suited to handle it, but just be a little cautious of how much you are kind of indulging and how much you're actually being productive, and kind of try to find that balance a little bit. All right, Virgo. So Queen of Wands. So Queen of Wands, really great card. Honestly, this is one of those that kind of makes me a little giddy when I get this card. And this really just means that you guys are kind of accessing that feminine, nurturing power. Now, this is more of a power card because she is ruling the wand suit, and wands are usually, they like to be in charge. So you guys are really kind of taking charge in a more discreet way. Like, this isn't necessarily like a king that is putting all of his commands and his leadership qualities out there for everyone to see. The queens are more feminine, they're more private. And so this kind of means that you're accessing more of your own personal creativity, and you're coming to terms with it, and it looks really good on you. This is a very, very prosperous card. Typically, that kind of means that you're getting more in touch with what is true to yourself during this Taurus season, and you know what emotionally is going to be fulfilling for you. So Taurus falls in the 9th house for you guys, which is the house of travel, expansion, humor. So we usually see new stuff come out through that, and just this kind of need to explore. And it is a little challenging right now to not be able to go outdoors and explore, you know, Earth itself. I mean, if you do, please, please, please be safe. But I think you're gonna find your own unique creative ways to kind of start new things. And so I'm pretty excited for you guys. All right. We've reached the halfway mark. So I am, I think, doing pretty well, trying to keep it pretty succinct. I usually can talk a lot, so I'm gonna try to keep this video right under 30. So Libra, here we go. We're gonna keep continuing on. So the Chariot, ooh, just talking about like Virgo, what they're going through and like new things. You guys are really going through it. The Chariot is a major arcana card, which means that it comes in the beginning of tarot, and that these are bigger impact cards. Not that one person's life is more important than another, but it just means that the themes that you guys are going through are going to be more pronounced this season. Now, when we look at where Taurus is placed in Libra's chart, it is going to be in your 8th house of transformation, death, sex even. So it's going to be a really interesting one for you guys. But the Chariot really kind of idealizes that there's always another road to take. There, I think a lot of times, with the cardinal signs, I noticed that you guys have a tendency to hold on to things without really letting people know that you're doing it. But you guys do have a really hard time letting go. And I think it's just a really interesting concept. I think cardinal signs are the ones that I really just don't understand. One, because it's lacking a lot in my chart. But two, it's just like fixed is so easy to see and mutable is so easy to see. And cardinal, I guess, just makes its own way. And yeah, so this is a big season for you guys to take a completely new direction. It is not an easy one, so it's not like Queen of Wands or 6 of Wands where you feel like it's kind of easier to move through. The Chariot is more of a test. It comes before the Strength card, which is the Leo card, and that's when you start to encounter a lot of obstacles and a lot of like test along your journey. And so you guys are getting ready to take that journey, which is extremely exciting. I get really happy when I see this card, but I don't want to downplay that it's not the easiest to work with, because you're really talking about changing where home is to you. Whether it's physically or spiritually, emotionally, you guys feel the need to make a new home for yourself, make a new environment for yourself. So I have high hopes for you guys though. This is a Venus season, even though it's not your season. You guys can maybe feel that it's somewhat similar to your sign in certain ways. All right, Scorpio, the Fool in reverse. Uh-oh. Okay. So we're seeing still a lot of beginnings. I mean, this is the second sign of the zodiac, so it's not super surprising to see things still starting. These are gonna be things that we're going to see more, prosperity. Obviously, Taurus is the sign of money and wealth. But this is going to be more so the sign that the stuff you're starting now, you are better suited to see it through, because this is an earth sign, and earth signs are all about having a plan, following the plan, and achieving the result. And so we're a lot more set up to actually have that successful endeavors and starts right now. And the Fool is really about starting that new path. I mean, this is like no holds bars, like you're going out on like a walkabout journey where you don't have any communication to the outside world. You don't have, any access to a lot of stuff. It's like you guys decided that you just wanted to disconnect from everything and just go out into the woods. Not to say that other people won't have that kind of urgency now that we have this earth season, but be very, very careful, because the Fool can really lead you down a dangerous path if you're not following the signs. And so if you guys are neglecting what the universe is trying to tell you, whether it is you meet a random person and they tell you they have a job opportunity for you, or you're like, okay, I'm definitely gonna go outside today, even though the weather forecast is terrible and it's gonna rain all day. Just be a little mindful of like what the world is actually saying to you. Taurus represents the senses as well. So hearing's a very big one this season. And so I feel like it's a big lesson for you guys this Taurus season to listen to what's going on around you. You're gonna have some exciting energy that you just kind of want to go out on your own and live this adventurous kind of movie of a sorts and just start fresh. This is like Arya. I say Arya, but other people say Arya from Game of Thrones, and her journey is a lot scarier than what this looks, but she has that kind of adventure aesthetic to her character, this kind of naivety, but she definitely grows into it. So yeah, just be a little mindful of what people are telling you, what you're noticing, and just kind of take in your surroundings. And I would try to stick away from making any too big decisions unless they're extremely urgent. So let's see here, Sagittarius, let's keep it moving. We have 9 of Wands. I hope when I post this video, they're not gonna be showing mirrored, because I hate that when I see other videos, but we'll see. 9 of Wands is, you guys have been doing the work. You've really been taking things in stride. Aries season was very productive for you guys. That's a fire season, so you were feeling the energy, feeling the creativity, feeling the responsibility to kind of like do right to your element. And now we are in an earth sign, so we're kind of being asked to slow down. I even like, when I start talking with you guys, I start to get this like rampant energy. And 9 of Pentacles is really about not necessarily protecting what you've established, but seeing it through. So you're getting a little weary because you're like, okay, I have 9 wands. If each of these wands is a responsibility or a task I have to accomplish during this season, that's a lot to ask of somebody. And you guys have already been through the ringer. I mean, if you've had some fights, some altercations, that can definitely reflect in the wand suit, because wands is competition. And you'll find with the fire signs, they easily draw antagonisms. You know, it's just, they have this loud, dominating personality, and some people just really don't do well with that. They either get jealous, they get whatever, and so when we walk into a room, you know, we can usually pinpoint who is going to pick a fight with us or who is going to be a little thrown back by our energy. And that's natural, you know, that's kind of what it takes to be a leader sometimes. Sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's not. You know, it's not always the right environment to be domineering. But 9 of Pentacles is really going to challenge you guys to just kind of take a breath. You know, you're in between battles in the Great War, if we call it that. I wouldn't say it's that serious, but you know, you're kind of in that pause where there's nothing firing, there's no bombs, there's no ammo going off right now. It's like lunchtime or something like that, and so you kind of have this second to recuperate before you feel like things are revving back up again. So not too bad. Page of Pentacles and the Sun. So you guys are the only sign to get 2 cards, Capricorn. So big stuff. We know the big stuff is really happening with you guys this year with all of the Scorpio, the Pluto transit, which has just set off so much stuff. Some people are even formulating that it could have led to the coronavirus because it's a transit that hasn't happened in centuries, and it was right with Saturn in Capricorn, and Saturn is society at large. You know, this thing has affected the world in such a unique way, and it's threatened, you know, its destruction by inducing fear, sickness, death, and just isolation. And that's very, very Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy and Saturn energy are pretty much the 2 hardest energies to work with, and you put them together and they created kind of this chaotic explosion, and we're still trying to figure out how to navigate it now because it's become the new normal in the wake of coronavirus and stay home stuff. And it's been a really, really interesting time. And so you Capricorns out there, you'll probably notice that even starting from last year, you're significantly changing your whole world, your whole life. It will keep continuing until about January, I would say, of next year. So you guys still have a big year ahead of you. Taurus season does look very nice though. Page of Pentacles and the Sun, wow. Some really, really good self-identifying happiness, some kind of generosity. You know, it's finding you guys. Maybe if you guys have been doing the work, Aries season was very productive. I mean, Capricorns never stop working, regardless of what the world is going through. You know, you guys are the business people, so you feel like no productivity is just not living at all. So Page of Pentacles, you don't exactly know where you're going with work and with the world. You don't know what the rest of the year holds for you, but you have this optimism that is very, very refreshing to see. We are out of that cynical nature during Taurus season. Things are a little lighter for you guys. It's the first Earth sign, so it's not as serious. It's more about building, starting new things, and you guys kind of have this great outlook. And so this is, you know, very good. Like, some things could really get started for you guys. If you're feeling a little lost, it's totally okay. You know, whenever we start a new kind of year, we're really kind of going back to the drawing board, and you guys are doing it in a really good fashion. So don't get worried if you feel out of control. Just kind of be a little more optimistic about the opportunities. So, All right, Capricorn. So Aquarius, here we go. Aquarius, 6 of Cups. Okay. So there is good and bad to this card. I don't feel like any card is good or bad. I might say it in the moment, but I feel like they all have their own unique messages. Now, this is really about finding the connection with someone that brings you into a younger, more youthful person. You feel like you're accessing a part of you that's been dormant for a while. This card comes up a lot when you have someone coming back into your life. Not necessarily from when you were a child, but it could be years past. It could be someone you just totally stopped talking to out of the blue. Cups are our past, but they're also the people that we love, our family. So that's a big thing for you. This looks like it'll be a pretty good time. Like, this needs to happen to some degree. But if it's that person that you just know is just like, you're just not gonna do well with, if they come back and knocking, then you already know, you guys are, you have that future vision. Doesn't mean that it's always right. The future is so unpredictable. I think you guys know that more than anybody. But Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is your natural planet. So this is going to be a really big time for you guys to connect to the season in a very deep way. Cups can do that for us. They're very emotionally fulfilling, and yeah, it looks like a pretty good thing. The flowers are blossoming, like, it's kind of like almost like movie set aesthetic. Like, how in old movies, like the women and stuff, they always like have this like interesting light about them. And I'm like, you just can't capture that with modern technology anymore. It's like a lost art form. And that's kind of what you guys look like. You guys look like you're kind of going into an older movie, and you look so good in that lighting. It's just like, do you want to do over something that's been done before? That's the question, is like, do you guys have a repeat in your gauntlet right now? Because I don't really feel like, I guess Aquarius could be repetitive to some degree. But I feel like you guys always have to change at least one detail so you can kind of get different results. You're like the scientist. You're always changing the one variable so you can see if you're getting consistencies or inconsistencies. And so it'll be interesting how you approach that. So nothing too crazy though. Queen of Pentacles, Pisces, final one. I didn't forget about you. You guys have been getting this card so much the last couple of months. Queen of Pentacles, this is really, really where we had the Queen of Wands with Virgo, Pisces, Queen of Pentacles. So you're really feeling the earth nature during Taurus season. That's good to see. You guys are adapting to the element of the season. And this is a very, very gentle card, Mother Earth almost. I feel like maybe that's a little more Empress energy, but this is kind of like a minor league Mother Earth. So maybe this is like, the continent, like Mother North America or Mother Australia, instead of like Mother Earth at large. And so you guys are kind of tapping into like this bigger, nurturing quality where you want to, maybe you want to polish some silver that you've had at home. You want to clean that thing that you've always noticed and just always neglected. You want to, just do the pillow challenge, kind of be inventive over things that you already own. And there's a lot of memories attached to this card. So Queen of Pentacles is kind of looking back and having some perspective, and almost identifying your habits, your patterns, and just like a more personal touch. And so, if you guys are feeling like very controlling, If you're feeling like you aren't living so much in the moment, or like you're having a hard time seeing what the next day holds, that's totally okay. It's like, be gentle on yourself right now. You guys are the most sensitive sign. So it's very, very imperative that you stay level-headed. You don't tap into this conscious fear that's happening right now, because that's just a one-way ticket to, you know, real isolation for you guys. And we don't want to start that road. So I'd say this isn't a bad energy for you guys. It's just more about, yeah, just putting into perspective what is already present, which is kind of the nature of this season in general. And just maybe just be a little easier on yourself. Try to enjoy it, you know, as much as you can. But yeah, you're gonna be attentive to it, that's for sure. So I did go over my time. I'm not surprised, but I kind of feel like I maybe did a little better. So hopefully you guys have really liked the lessons thus far for all the signs. You know, Taurus season is really another time for us to start those new plans, those new developments. Taurus is the architect of the zodiac. And so we have this, we're defining our structure and our way of approaching things. You know, we start off with Mars, and then Taurus is even our more unique touch. We're able to see the details in things. We're able to recognize the different notes in a song. You know, we're able to smell things way more perceptively. That has been happening to me the last couple of days for sure. And just, yeah, you know, you're gonna feel the itch to get outside. It's gonna look great too. I mean, I feel like this is a very pretty season. Spring, it's not too hot yet, and things are in bloom from the start of spring and Aries season. And but you know, earth signs, they are practical, they're cautious, and so I think we need a little bit of that. If we're gonna go outside, we need to be aware of our surroundings. We need to be protecting our bodies and our health and the health of others. And so I think I don't have a lot of worry like I did with Aries season, wanting to just kind of unleash and just, you know, kind of, and they're not always the most responsible sign. And so Taurus, we're moving into a little more conscious kind of mindset. And so that's good to see. I drew a card just to kind of sum up the season, and that card is Ace of Cups in reverse. So the aces in tarot are really about those beginnings. And like we were seeing with a lot of the signs, we're still seeing the foundations being built during this season. And Ace of Cups is really about inviting in a new way of expressing your emotions, expressing your connections to your past, whether it's family, loved ones, tragedy. You know, if you guys have known anyone that's been afflicted by this or been touched by this pandemic, and or you're just tapping into the collective consciousness and just feeling the fear, feeling the, you know, some of the things that people are doing that are not so smart right now. And that's kind of making you a little more panicked, a little more worry prone. You know, Ace of Cups is a reminder to, you always have the ability to do this. You can always make this glass half full. What are we thankful for? You know, what, is it your health? You know, is it the roof over your head? Is it the money in your bank account? Especially now that we've got the stimulus. Not that that didn't go straight to rent or anything, but, you know, what is it that makes us feel good? You know, and sometimes we have happy tears. Sometimes happiness doesn't look like a smile on your face necessarily. Sometimes it's just an inner feeling that maybe other people aren't even perceiving, but it's intimately yours. And that's what we're trying to access right now. We're trying to access what is ours in this really strange time. And so, you know, this reversal really means that in this wake of an earth sign, it's a lot harder to almost connect emotionally to things, even though we may physically have the things that we love and the comforts of our home and our favorite meal, or you know, whatever it is. The struggle will be this month breaching through on an emotional level, because that's not something that the earth signs are really great at doing. I would say Virgo is a lot better with that, being the caregiver sign, but Taurus and Capricorn are kind of notorious for being very hard to work with, you know, very stubborn, but they do it out of a need to find success. They feel like the methods that they take and the way that they kind of enforce restrictions is necessary, is a means to a cause. You know, there's a reason behind it, and so it may not be the most palatable for the rest of us, you know, when we kind of come up against a wall or a mountain. But the earth signs come in our life in a time where we really have to self-motivate, in a time where we really need to accomplish things. And so sometimes it can feel like the harsh teacher, you know, just kind of putting up more barriers for us, but they're really just almost like a coach in a way, challenging us to overcome things that we don't even realize we need to. And so if you find like it's really hard to deal with people's ideas and concepts and beliefs this season, that's not unnatural, because also we have Uranus in the sign, which, let me tell you, when an Aquarius is convinced of something, there's like no one more stubborn, okay? So that'll really be impacting. So you have two fixed signs that are really playing out in this sign, you know? And so it can be a challenge to work with, but I think it can make us all a lot stronger by identifying what is valuable to us personally. And so if there's one thing that you need to ask yourself during Taurus season, it is, what do I value? And that's all, folks. Stay tuned for more videos. Like and subscribe, and there will be more stuff on its way. Take care.